All right. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another scene for Nightfall in Amsterdam, the Werewolf venue, where in this particular case, in this particular early, unholy hour of the morning, well before even Grace usually shows up to leap onto Balka's bed and wake him up for his morning run, she is making a detour from her usual nightly antics because well, she's got a lot of hours in the day and a lot of hours in the night, and maybe one of them gets eaten by sleep a day, but that leaves a lot. So she's had ample time to take Balka home, spend a little time with him, let him sleep, check out the neighborhood as she always does. And well, it's rote. She walks the same alleys, the same streets, checks the same corners, windows, and everything is always so stable. So, with various thoughts kind of clouding her mind and her head and her feelings, this little ragabash makes the abrupt decision to change her schedule up the slightest bit to make a little deviation. And so she heads back, knowing that the night is secure, knowing that the house is locked. She heads back to Sept. And once near enough to continue on foot, will do just that. Her usual big, ridiculous jacket zipped up around her. Still enough room under there for like another 2 layers, but that damp that comes with the fog it's a bit much. So, coverage. Coverage is the name of the game. As she approaches the barn, much as she always does, hands stuffed down in giant pockets. One of them fiddling with the little carving. The other one just kind of at rest in her pocket. And yeah, she will just saunter in, knowing roughly where the barn is, knowing where everything starts and ends, and just glancing around and strolling through them woods.
So the woods have the kind of smaller woods have definitely mist in the early mornings. As night is kind of slowly transitioning to daytime, especially in coming up to the summer. So there's this kind of low laying fog that kind of hangs over really nicely. Creates a lovely image. So she's tracing along. That's when the voice will echo through like it rises. Not this light, airy voice. No, it's got very powerful, deep resonance to it. And I'll put this into perspective so you understand. Echoes across the Tellurian. And again, it's big, it's powerful, it's old. This old world sort of style. You imagine if you looked up and saw nothing but the tall pine trees, you imagine how that would echo and how that would sound.
Hmm. Well, some amount of curiosity is practically the curse of a ragabash, and let's face it, she knows who that is. She's just gotta find him. So she'll quiet herself down a little bit, stop, listen, and start tipping her head one direction, tipping it the other, trying to figure out if she can suss through the echoes, suss through kind of ambience of it, and try to get a direction so that she can delicately pick her way along. On the upside, if it's damp enough for fog, it might be damp enough that she's not munching and crunching through the underbrush as she goes.
Oh yeah, you could easily find them. You actually hear the soft scraping sound as well. It sounds like someone is, when you're trying to chip away wood to get rid of, kind of make it smoother and stuff like that. You can hear it. You can hear it as you get closer to the woods as well.
Yep, it is very quiet. In fact, the hands kind of come out of the pockets for counterbalance. And she will just very delicately, in fact, probably technically sneaking, try to pick her way close enough to kind of see what's going on. Who knows how close she'll have to get before the fog breaks, but it's worth a shot.
I'll give it to you with your stealth rolls and stealth dice. Yeah, no, I'll give it to you for free.
Yay.
You'll see him slowly tipping along on a piece of like a big log, essentially. You know, the way you're kind of slowly. It looks like he's maybe building a table or something. It's probably furnishing out the leg. But you'll see the singing as his back is to you, as he's just, you probably see the big braid and all that,
You know what? Before she makes an approach, she's gonna take a second and settle back, kind of break line of sight with one of the trees. I'm mulling it over for a second because it's been a while since she's been around at night. She will think about it for a moment, and finally, through the link rather than out loud, just go, came back around tonight? Is that you singing?
he doesn't move or like stop, you just hear a yes.
Can I join you?
If you wish.
I do.
Yeah, and you'd see he stopped singing because he's like, oh, Grace is coming over. He doesn't know where you are, but you can see him still slowly working away. It's that type of thing.
She'll crack a faint smile because she's close enough that she needs to give it a minute. She doesn't want him to, I don't know, get a weird impression. And when he stops, after a brief moment's pause, we're like, well, how am I supposed to find you if you stop?
I see. Yes, and you start singing again. Again, 9 successes wise, that voice is powerful. It's like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like it makes you take a step back a bit.
It is. And it's funny because she doesn't have any reservation about sharing how she feels about his singing. So, as much as she can talk to him in the link, she kind of shares that brief little like, ooh, kind of reaction. Just so pleased. It's good singing. And while she doesn't know the words, she doesn't know the language, it still resonates. So she just kind of lets it, what will leak leaks. She's not throwing it out there. She's not holding it in. She's just feeling it. And not caring who feels it with her.
You just say, my father was a galliard.
Oh, he must have been a fine galliard.
Of course. You achieve the rank of Athro. You do not achieve that rank in our tribe lightly.
Definitively a fine Athro, then. A fine Galliard. No wonder your battle cries carry like they do.
I was half Sigurdsson as well, and they were known for the people who bred Galliard. My mother can sing like this.
It might have been almost as fine a Galliard as you are in a rune. She'll finally, after a bit of pause, get herself up quietly and finally start walking over and slowly kind of a leaf here, a leaf there, finally start making herself audible as she's getting closer.
Yeah, he'll stop when he hears her audibly getting closer. So people keep telling me.
Well, you're damn good at rune, so I imagine it'd be quite the competition between the two.
I have no intention of making a Galliard forget their duty. And she will notice as well as when Eric turns, he's probably in a shirt, that kind of with no sleeves on it, that type of thing, because it's probably easier to work and everything. She notice how big he is getting because I'm at 4 in all my fucking attributes at the minute.
Jesus.
So when she turns, it's like, whoa. Do you know what I mean? So normally Eric wears the big, jackets and all that. So when it's all off, she'll see it. She'll see how fucking terrifyingly muscular he is.
Oh yeah. And she saunters right over and just plunks down next to him, without so much as a by your leave, really. She can see where the shavings are. She knows where to not sit. Do you always sing when you're woodworking?
Of course. Well, not as loudly, but nobody is around at night.
What's the song about?
It is kind of shifts uncomfortably. It is about the idea of a feu, which is the idea that the land and the great joining of the world is brought into one. It is in our people's mythology, and how we as the children of Fenrir suffered because of the betrayals and all that.
Kind of a quizzical glance, if only because it seems like a weird thing to have an uncomfortable shift about.
You get the impression Eric is a fine singer. It's just, there's people watching me. Do you know what I mean? It's more of, you're asking me about the song. Okay. You know what I mean?
Oh, couldn't you ask me about punching things?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not a rune shift of,
Yeah, Deborah's kind of just. Oh Lord. It's just
you'll just say one of them is Feu is the strife of man, which is the path of the serpent. That is what one of the lines of the song is.
And what's the path of the serpent?
The worm.
Oh.
There was song. People sing about things and different things. There's a saga of caution.
Oh.
And they are just as important as songs of praise or mourning.
I suppose so.
It is also a song of war. For in the end of the tale, we are victorious, for we go beyond the strife and suffering and we bring balance.
Sounds like a good story.
It is a good song to sing, yes.
There's just like the playful little glint in the eyes as she smiles. His story and his song's as good as any story.
I suppose.
Then yeah, she'll just stay plunked next to him. Dancing over. And she just kind of like, not in a like I'm pulling myself into a tiny ball kind of way, but just kind of that comfortable kid sit, like pulls her knees up and wraps her arms around him. Did your pa tell you a lot of stories? Or was
Of
it more
course.
like history lectures?
No, it was always stories. When I was a child,
Oh, lucky.
you'd often remember the lessons from the stories because they were our stories. After all, who did not want to remember how the prince managed to rescue a maiden from a large serpent?
It's a broad smile.
You later find out that that serpent was a representation of the worm, and it was him telling tales of other gurus' endeavors.
It's a clever way to do it.
My father was a clever man.
You must have been.
Of course, he would have not made it to Athro otherwise.
Okay, ruin the compliment.
Smirking.
Pokes her tongue out. She's probably like, at this point, just lazed her cheek on one of her knees.
The orcs and family feasts is where he would tell the mightiest tales. Where we would all gather around a great oak table, each of us from the different corners, and we would all join together.
Sounds amazing.
There would be strengths of contest, or strengths of tests of endurance, or songs of praise, or who could tell the best tale. It is always a sign of your own greatness among Clan Ulrichson.
Which ones did you win? Grinning.
When I was a kinfolk, it was more to be seen, to see how you're growing, you know?
I suppose it makes sense.
When I was a young cub, well, of course, I'm going to ruin tests of strengths were the immediate thing, even against all family members who could put me in the dirt easily. I still had to do it to show that I have the fearlessness to face down a mighty foe, even if that means losing.
Oh, that's a smart lesson. Like, taps her, temple briefly. Like, boit.
It is an attempt to teach humility to Cleats. It has a mixed, varying degree of success.
No, I imagine it sticks better with some than others, but you're smarter than the average Arun.
So people tell me.
I do?
He just shrugs. And again, you always notice he doesn't take the compliments like they are. He just gives that very humble, like, you know what I mean? So it's very cool, like it's not overconfidence. It's just cool self-confidence about him.
One day I'm gonna say something nice and you're gonna smile. I'll throw a party. There'll be confetti.
Why is that?
It's really just shrug.
I have not earned the right to be proud of my deeds yet.
Oh, I don't know. You've got a hell of a scar. You've got some prizes. You've managed to do what you came here to do initially. Those all seem worth bragging about. It's kind of the entire nature of the beast.
I'm still a Cleath.
I mean, not for long, you're not.
No.
Even I can tell.
No, and the challenge will come soon. But I must learn to keep a balance and not let my head become bigger than my shoulders.
Well, no, of course not. But, I dare say it. She'll, reach over and, poke his shoulder. Your shoulders are getting pretty big. So, I dare say you're allowed to have just enough ego to fit on top of him.
It is a slippery slope. I will not fall down that path.
You could at least seem proud of it.
Pride is a dangerous thing.
but showing pride in what you believe in and what you know you can do. It's also how you move up.
I do. I just do not like to speak it.
Oh.
Smirking over us, you should see the bit, just chunk.
Oh yeah, she's chill as hell with him, like chunking through this piece of wood. And yeah, just waits for like, I don't know, one of those brisk little morning breezes that like, whoo, get ya. At which point she like tightens up a little and like scooches. Again, trying to get not in the way, but maybe like shoulder to shoulder, even if it's at a 90-degree angle, so he still has the elbow room he needs. Just like, ooh, cover, using you as cover. So what you making?
A table.
Oh, to replace the great loss we suffered.
The living room looks empty. It needs something.
Oh, did someone break the coffee table?
No, I just felt that it looked empty.
Oh. Well, all right then. To like do the whole thing where like you pick your head way up because his shoulder is way higher than her fucking.
He's a big man.
So it's just like it cranes up to look over his shoulder, like see if he's getting fancy with it or just hewing out the base shape.
You get the idea he's basing out the leg first. That taking that slow, careful, methodical process. He's not on the individual carving bit yet. It's getting the shape of the wood,
Yeah. So there's this brief moment of like, as she like leans up and goes to glance over, probably like has to smush her cheek into the back of his shoulder just to see. It's like, oh, you're not to the fancy bits yet.
No, it's only at the base design.
I'm surprised you're not trying to do the whole thing out of one massive chunk of wood.
That would.
I'm not sure we have any trees here big enough.
That would. It takes time to do that, and it takes a certain amount of skill. It is often better to do it piece by piece. That way, each piece is special and separate.
I suppose so.
It means more.
Oh. I'll take your word for it. Sounds like a bunch of craftsmen talking to me.
Nods. It is.
Well, there you go. Then I'm best off taking your word for it, aren't I?
You could do that.
I could. I might even think it was a good idea.
That is your prerogative.
Well, seeing as you're the only woodworker, no. As far as I'm concerned, you're the authority.
Just gives a nod, like, yes, I am. You know what I mean?
She like turns the glance and like, you don't even need to see it to feel that she's smirking. Well, there you go. Look at that. It's way better than a shrug.
If you say so.
Oh, I do. So did you pick this song for a reason?
It is a good song to sing before war.
I suppose so.
Plus, when you should see it, when he looks up at the trees and smirks, you should hear it when they pound the drums.
Oh, I hope so.
When Bloodfist goes to war, that is the song they sing.
Must be a hell of a thing hearing that many gurus sing. Especially a song like that with the drums.
It is.
She does like the little excited shiver, like, ooh.
It is, and that is why Clan Orkson leads the charge with it. We have faced off against the Worm, other clans, and they always do fear the Orkson charge. The March, it is called. The advance, typically.
And how do the Sigurdssons go to war then?
They howl. They frenzy themselves into a writhing fury, like great fire drakes. For every man that falls of the Sigurdsson clan, another 20 of his enemy lay before him because they never stop howling. The Trumansons are cold and quiet, like sentinels coming out of the storm.
Aren't you telling me about how they each face a snowstorm?
Nods.
What was it the Sigurdssons were? The light that leads through, the Trimbussons could kneel and endure while it passes?
And we carry it. And face it with no light, or not kneel before it. We simply walk.
Relentless then?
That is what you could describe Clan Orkson, yes.
I mean, if that's how you march and you charge, and that's how you face a blizzard, relentless seems like a good word for it.
There is a reason I did not die that day.
Well, it didn't give you permission to die either. Absolutely not.
Seems Great Father Wolf did not give permission either.
Well, there you go. I'm glad he and I agree.
Hmm.
I mean, if he disagreed, that'd be a hell of a thing.
Shrugs? It would.
Then she finally, squirms around a little more. So, again, making sure he has elbow room, but ends up just kind of plunking, leaning back to back. That's an argument I'd hate to have. If I can't get out of your reach fast enough, imagine what had happened there. Ooh.
Yes, I would dread to think so.
Then I have to get way better at my job.
I take it you have opinions on the howl Veronica dipped upwards.
Again, he doesn't have to see to kind of feel that kind of smug satisfaction because she got to do her job. Oh, I had an opinion, all right.
Yes, I heard you eating like a hyena around.
A hyena? Now that's just. I mean, it might be accurate, but that's just a kind.
She actually will hear the soft chuckle as he's scraping some of the wood.
Hyena. Of all things.
You do love getting so huffy and puffy if someone teases you. For one that teases so many others.
Well, you're saying now I have to be a good sport on top of everything else. Is that outrageous?
I did not say that. I am just making an observation. I'm very presumptuous. This is like flicks some of the wood off, like making the,
They'll feel that the head loll a little bit. That glance over her shoulder up at him.
What?
Oh, nothing.
Just gives the kind of nod, like, okay. It's the nod of, I know it's not nothing, but I'm not going to push. You know what I mean?
Now, if I wasn't huffing and puffing, wouldn't you be worried?
Partially.
Partially.
Smirking.
Only partially.
Indeed. Mainly because I would be relieved that you're not huffing and puffing specifically at me. And I would assume you're huffing and puffing at someone else.
Oh.
So I would be relaxed that I thought you weren't going to huff and puff at me. Because I did not realize if you came all huffy and puffy, I would be trying to figure out what I did wrong that got you to be huffy and puffy.
I do like huffing and puffing.
You do.
Now, if only I could learn to blow down brick buildings. Have this shit in the hole.
It's more of the waddle you do as you're huffing and puffing.
I don't waddle.
You waddle.
She like twisting around again. He can feel the movement, so it's like I don't waddle.
You do, especially when you're angry.
I am as graceful as a fucking antelope. I'll have you know.
You waddle when you're angry. It would be endearing if it was not funny.
Picking my way delicately along like a
I
doe.
would watch you waddle towards me, and I would, of course, be understandable that you are upset and prepared to deal with that. But you do look quite amusing.
It's not a waddle.
It's a waddle.
It is absolutely not a waddle. Just because I'm short doesn't make it a waddle.
It's not even that you're short. It's the strides you do.
I don't waddle.
You waddle. Especially when you're angry. When you're angry, you do.
Waddling is what penguins do.
You huff and puff like an angry penguin.
Do angry penguins huff and puff?
Yes.
I think you're full of bullshit.
The next time I will get Runa to record a video of it for you.
You should?
I will.
Because I don't believe it for the life of me. Not a little.
I am waiting.
I don't wibble wobble like a waddle. That is terrible.
You do it when you start flapping your arms, and when you get angry, you do a lot of arm movement, and again.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't stay down under my shoulders. It goes all over the place.
That time,
very enthusiastic talker.
At times, I am concerned that, of course, for your well-being, but there are other times where I cannot help but stay silent and not attempt to laugh.
Oh. Can't just laugh at a person when they're angry. Jesus, Eric.
I only laugh when it is about the minor things.
Outrageous.
It's probably not. Should probably as he's humming along, this is gonna be amusing because you know what, fucking Eric has listened to some modern music. She'll hear hum that as he's carving the wood.
Nope, clicked the wrong one.
He seems to have a particular fondness for the weekend.
There's like a pause, a little bit of thoughtless head bobbing because he's humming, and then like it stops for a second. The head twists around. Really?
Look over.
It's a jarring change of tone.
It is a catchy song.
It is a catchy song.
It is. I will be humming it when I pass my fostering challenge.
Will ya?
Yes.
Now that'll be something.
I have had fantasies of me carrying around the sword like the person does in the music video.
Do ya?
Occasionally.
Are you gonna smash everything while you're at it?
I might.
You're gonna have to make more tables?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing? Just preparing for your fostering challenge? You can smash everything and then be like, no, it's fine. Look, Helga, I made a new table already.
No, I have prepared for my foster challenge in other ways. It's like he lifts one of the big pieces of wood. I mean, she can visibly see. It's not like him showing off. She can see how he's prepared for his fostering challenge, essentially.
Oh. All right then.
Yeah, no, he'll lift it, and it'll take some amount of strength, and you'll just see fucking hell, Eric. You know what I mean? It's that type of vibe.
Yeah, she twists around to look, and it takes her a second, and she's like, oh, that checks out.
What?
What? It checks out.
What does?
Oh, nothing. Just definitely, like I said, your shoulders have gotten bigger. Reaches across herself to reach over, pat his shoulder, there you go, buddy.
It's like patting steel.
Exactly. Dung, dung. Oh, Jesus.
Helga has been looking at me oddly lately. You know, he just puts down the block of wood.
Oh, oddly, you say.
Yes.
So, what define oddly for me?
She stares.
Oh. Is it mostly when you're walking around with these shirts? She, like, tugs teasingly on, like, the armhole.
They're easy to manage when I'm carpeting. It gets too hot. Especially in the summer.
So that's a yes.
Yes, or when I have to take off my shirt to clean it.
Can't imagine why. Just finally innocently looks off.
Just the nods. I cannot either. He does it. Like, he actually takes off the shirt to, like, wipe it, essentially.
She'll even lean forward, like, ugh.
It says he's walking around casually. Like, he has no idea of, you know what I mean? You get that impression. He has no idea. You probably see the scar as well, like, woo. But, like, yeah, he's just walking
Is he
around.
actually getting up?
Yeah.
You know, hold on a second. Hold on. I know I've got it here somewhere. She, like, fishes around, finds her phone. Here, look at me for a second.
Look
Turn
over.
around. And she click, flash.
I'll put it like this. He does that slow turn because, like, with purebred, he's appearing 6 to get to kin and guru. So he does that slow turn. It's like a fucking model ad. Unintentionally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she's sitting here just going, Jesus, and, like, snags a photo. It's like, okay, come here.
What?
Turns the phone around, points it at him. Like, are you still confused? She points up the photo, like, the fucking flash picks out, like, the scar and everything, sets him out from the fucking surroundings. I mean, yeah, it's a night shot. Her camera isn't the nicest or newest, but it's still like, oh, hey.
I am. Yes, this is a picture of me.
Okay. So let me point out a few key features here. So for one, your arms are almost as big a fucking round as your legs are. That's a good thing. In case you were wondering, that's good.
Mm.
And as we've discussed a couple times now, your shoulders are fucking massive.
Yes.
That's also a good thing.
So what is the problem?
You know, you see, you're looking for a problem, and I think that's where you're going wrong here, Ryan. She's kind of corking a grin. Dances the phone screen a little bit, you know, wiggle, wiggle.
He just gives a shrug. No, I was just confused.
Okay. You know, if I had a smarter phone, I would do comparisons, and but we are out in the woods, and my phone isn't that smart. So
You rub his beard. Huh. Wait a minute.
oh
Oh.
oh
Oh.
oh, maybe with the shirt off.
Just nods to himself like,
You know, there's some of what we like to call good old fashioned muscle definition going on here.
Does Belka not do that for you?
She grins playfully. Well, I mean, Belka gets stark naked for me, but that's neither here nor there.
I imagine he's quite skinny. Picks up one of the blocks of wood.
She just flicks a twig at him, you know.
Ah.
Yeah, that's right.
What? I've noticed his muscle definition is lacking. He's onto the block.
Well, he's not in a run.
No, but it is concerning. You should tell him he needs to run more.
I in fact make sure he runs every day.
Good. His cardio is a very important asset.
I know. That's why we do it.
Both for running for his life and for fornicating.
Yes. We had noticed the side benefit, and by noticed I mean I had made very clear the side benefit.
There's nothing more disappointing than finishing too early or not having the stamina to continue doing so, both in life and in sex. It's probably what gets cracks Grace up is just the business nod of, yeah.
She's like, it's that smaller She's like, I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna laugh. And she's like just looking across her teeth, like, yep. Yeah, you know. Yep.
That is how I kept up with the bear. Sage nod.
Ah, the bear. Yes, I seem to remember you having a bear. Something about a bear.
Yeah. Then he just goes all serious again, like, oh no, I didn't do that.
Oh, you almost looked like people for a moment.
What? She was very pretty.
I will take your word for it because I had, my memory is a little spotty over the whole thing.
You reach over, where his jacket is, and take out the small little, like basic phone he has. You can tell probably Helga bought it for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll like show a picture, and you know what she looks like. It's just oh,
Oh. Oh, Jesus, her arms are as big as yours?
they are, aren't they?
Holy shit.
She's a bodybuilder,
You don't say.
not the steroid kind. More
I would hope not.
actual wrestling. The Olympic things.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Jesus. She like pulls her jacket around her a little bit, like, oh, fine.
And she is a strong woman.
I imagine so.
But she does not have red hair. He says, you can hear the oh in his voice. The slight Homer Simpson. Oh.
As much as she was trying to pout it, it resets her too. That little teasing grin again. You can get red hair in a box nowadays.
That is not the same.
I mean, it's not. But she could do it. Grinning.
It is not the same.
Oh, because it's not real.
Exactly.
Oh. Is that so important?
Of course.
Got a very definitive type then.
Yes. Is that a problem?
No. No, not at all. She glanced back just to see if he got too serious in asking it.
No, it's just it's confusion.
No, it's just endearing. You're fine.
Hmm.
And poor Helga must be heartbroken though. Still grinning faintly.
Why would she be heartbroken?
Isn't Helga a blonde? Not a character?
Helga's blonde, yeah.
She just kind of glances over, playing with her hair. Looking at the hair like, oh, Oh, because she's a blonde. Innocently playing with hair strands like doo 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 doo.
Hang on there now.
Please tell me he does anything to like loom in. She's very pointedly
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna give you
much.
eye contact or nothing.
Pretty
Like,
much, yeah. Pretty much what he does. Exactly that.
there's like the innocent glance up. Oh, what?
Nothing. As that kind of, you know what I mean? That grump.
No, nothing at all.
No.
It's almost like it goes together hand in hand with the staring. Grin, the grin widens. She goes back to like glancing at the hair, like doo dee doo dee doo.
I imagine Balka stares at you the same way.
Oh, he does. Albeit usually when he stares at me, it's because I've said something completely fucking outrageous.
Or you're naked.
Or I'm naked. That is also one of the times he stares.
Yes. I imagine he seems like the staring type.
I mean, the staring doesn't last very long. We're not big on just standing still and staring.
I imagine that would be awkward if he was.
It would. It'd be very awkward. I mean, it's nice to know a fellow likes how you look, but prolonged staring just gets kind of creepy after a while. A good appreciative look now and then, though. Ooh, it's quite the thing.
Just shrugs.
Brenda, does Helga sing or whistle or anything like that?
Nope.
Nothing? Does she even hum when she's working?
I think she hums. Yeah, I gotta say she hums. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Or she does her little kind of, the head bobbles.
Yep. So she'll just, I mean, Eric has gotten up, but is not her leaning post anymore, which is terrible and a sin. But for the moment, she'll just bump back against the nearest tree and go back to playing with her hair. Oh, yeah. Appreciative looks are all the rage. I dare say if. Oh. Oh, no, that's probably a little too racy.
What?
Oh, I'm just saying. I bet you. I'm not sure what I bet you, but I bet you something that if you, like, say Helga caught you checking her out when she was bending down to get something like that, a little appreciative look, I bet you she'd hum for the next 2 days straight. Still just the most self-satisfied little smirk as she's like, oh, I think I'm gonna braid this now, yeah. Like, da-da-da.
I will take this under advisement.
Well, let me know if she starts humming.
Just gives us, You know what I mean? It's the most, she knows that Eric. It's like contemplated, like husky, like,
Huff, huff, huff.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that or she'll start humming for 2 days straight and I'll know you did it.
You know what I miss most about home?
Don't you should tell me.
The women used to, at some of the festivals, especially during the summer, they would all sing. They would all get up in a line and sing as like a choir.
Oh?
I miss the sound of it.
What did they sing?
The ones from Finland, they'd sing about the summer and the wine and the men and how they would feel. And some of them were teasing songs, like there was no man good enough to see her, you know?
Oh, I can't imagine.
There was one song where they would sing that their man is useless and they believe that the witch put a curse on her because their man is not functional enough.
Oof. Daring that.
It's quite beautiful. The song, at least.
I believe you. I'll have to ask Helga to give me a rendition so I know what in the world you're talking about.
It's a long-standing tradition of that they would sing as one, you know, together. The Trimblinsons are the best at it, but the Oaks women can do it as well.
In the Sigurdsson?
Oh, he smiles fondly. The Sigurdsson women's are a different thing entirely.
Oh?
They practice coolnings.
What's that?
They'd sing in the mist. It was used to herd cows. but they would
It's just
sing.
the most perplexed look.
In the old fjords, they are great mountains. When you had to bring your sheep or cows across them, sometimes they would get lost, and you would sing, so they would follow the noise of your sound.
Oh,
The home sept is a large mountainous region.
I suppose that makes sense then.
And they would sing out to it. Fafnir's brood, they share it with the Trimbidsons. It's in the Baltic. And they would sing. I've been there when I was young. It is something else to hear it.
Sounds like.
Especially when you look on a snowy landscape and that is what you hear through it. The forest is the forest, and I will not trade it for anything but to see that it is certainly something you will not forget.
I imagine not.
It is old. It's where it was used by our people in far older times.
There's something real charming about the things that have been around for ages. Things that have lasted. Things that have been carried on.
Yes.
It's like you can hear how old the song is. Hmm.
We Fenrir are not all blood and glory. Well, mostly.
Only mostly.
There is more than just blood and glory in our words.
Well, of course.
You should hear when they sing about Solgridin, which is points up somewhere.
Oh.
Berries, wine. They put the berries in the mead. And it's a great festival. Not as wild as Beltane, but it's different. Especially in the forest. Because they're honoring Helios, you see. Much like Beltane is with fire. But they are asking the plants to grow, not light. You get me? Different, same meaning, different out. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something wrong?
Nah, it's just reminiscing a little.
About what?
Well, you're not the only ones that sing. Kind of grins over playfully. But I
I
didn't get
suppose.
to hear all of it as long as you did.
Just gives a nod.
I haven't even learned the songs yet. Not
You
most of
should.
them.
Perhaps you should.
It's finally the awkward kind of back of the head rub. It is a wee bit challenging.
Perhaps you should dance.
Oh,
I hear you, Fiona, are renowned dancers.
got a strong sense of dance like nobody's watching. Can
Well, perhaps,
absolutely dance. Whether or not to do it well, I suppose, is up to the viewer, but I don't give a fuck.
perhaps you should learn some of the old dances.
Yeah, she kind of glances around. Like, it's that kind of survey the sept kind of look around. I picked up a couple steps here and there, but I didn't have the time to learn whole dances, and she finally gives a shrug. I didn't grow up in the language, so I haven't picked up the songs. I don't know.
I did not realize. I did not realize that the sound of drums needs to understand a language. Smirking, playfully.
It's not singing.
So it is still the beat and the rhythm. It's still something you can. You don't need to understand it. You can just let your body feel it.
She kind of has a wry little smile as she picks up a twig and just kind of, you know, that thing you do, like, just to keep your hands busy, just picks up a twig and kind of snaps it. A dry one from the ground, you know, and just flicks off the pieces as she's going. You know, of all the silly things, I was so taken with them. One of the Rayas taught me to play the bagpipes. I'm not good, but I'm not as bad as I did, you know, the one time.
That hideous sounding thing.
And I wanted it to sound hideous.
It sounded hideous.
Well, that was kind of the point. But no, it does make music, leave it or not.
Perhaps you should learn more of it then. Instead of fussing.
It's a lot easier to fuss when there's no one here to teach it to you.
Perhaps you should look up on the YouTube.
On the YouTube, you say, kind of grinning over.
Yes.
I might. Then again, if I'm going to go to the YouTube, I might as well learn the dancing and the singing and all of it. Finally rubs the back of her head again. I really should learn the rest of the language.
Just shrugged. Who knows? I think you'll figure out a way.
Well, I'm pretty resourceful when I set my mind to a thing.
Good.
Just kind of glance up again. Is he just like standing and pacing and whatnot? Because I imagine he can't readily work on the thing while he's like standing and marching around.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you give up on your table leg?
Yes.
What is that?
You're distracting me.
You can't talk and work at the same time?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
I promise not to talk about how much girls like you anymore. Grinning.
I'm enjoying talking.
Oh? Well, then I suppose I'll keep going.
Yes. Just sage nod like, hmm.
You said you were homeschooled, right?
That was taught pretty much within the nation, yes.
What's it like? Like cub classes? I mean,
bit like
obviously
that.
for kinfolk, but
A bit like that for some of us, yes.
huh. Must have been nice. And it's funny because she is still kind of doing that weird disengaged thing where she talks about it, but as she's talking about it, she's breaking up a twig. She's picked up a leaf and is just kind of flipping it over and then flicking it back off into the, onto the ground or whatever have you. Playing with her hair. Was it like just you and a bunch of other kinfolk?
Yes.
God, how many were there of you running around? Little
A few of us. A few of us. Some were more advanced than others and or actually went to school.
Oh. I never would have thought there'd be more than 10 littles running around on a set, at least to look at the Tara. The place is enormous.
Just a nod. I've heard it is quite big.
It was so odd seeing it the first time, grown up on such a small sept. Well, grown up. It spent, a year on such a small sept. I didn't know they got so big.
It can. Bloodfist is huge.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
She actually, kind of does the little scoochy thing. There's a little bit of enthusiasm as she finally glances up and, even reaches over and, pats the ground next to her. Tell me about it.
He just stands there as he stares at her. It is a big forest.
What is that all?
It is built within the forest, and it has always been a part of the forest.
How big is the biggest building? What is it?
The Cairnheart. It is
Built
the
a whole
biggest.
building around it.
Well, they're all wooden structures, you see. Some are stone, yes, but the one around the Cairnheart is to be kept the most natural. And it was there since the olden times.
I'm gonna sound ignorant, but God help me, I am. So, is it like one of those big old meat holes from back in the day, or is it?
Nods.
Oh,
There is villages that it is especially rife with lupus. It's a lot of wilderness, you see.
sounds amazing.
It has been largely unmolested, considering modern expansion and all that.
Yeah, and overseas, there's not a lot of lupus to be had at all. Most of them are up in Canada.
We offer a lot of service to those who would be destitute. We offer them protection.
Well, then I imagine you've been around so long, you probably had places secured long before it was ever settled.
Nods. The totem is boar, you see. So it is a fairly harsh place, but
Oh, boy, I know that one.
we are one of the few seps that can sufficiently offer aid to other seps and other things and still not be vulnerable.
Must be big then.
It is, but we are clever about the power. Our Valka One Eye, the Elder, the Alpha, she's a Philodox, so she considers every move very carefully.
Sounds wise.
It is what they do.
Does she take challenge often from ruins who think they'd do it better, or
Oh, yes.
Oh,
That is why she is feared.
well, that actually makes even more sense, really.
Most of the kin live in the villages, you see. The Gru move further inwards towards the actual Cairnheart. See, it was one of the first cairns to be established in Europe. That's how old it is.
Well, here I was beginning to think the villages were all just part of it.
No, they're on the protectorate border and then they expand inwards, you see. It's easier for the kin to work in.
Makes sense.
But I will say, you will make your usual face. Metas do come there regularly because they will, like our Alpha says, everything needs to be offered so they can prove themselves to be strong members of the nation otherwise. A Metis untrained is a more danger to the world than a Metis that is trained. That is her philosophy.
There's kind of a nod, like, okay.
It does not mean that they have an easier time. It just means that they have a place that they can go, that they will not be left abandoned. But they must be still raised by our standard, if you get me. But so long as they're in there, they are protected. But once they're in there, they must obey the Fenrir law and tradition.
Makes sense.
I know you, Fianna, have a more harsher view. We get very simple about it. We do not take things easy on them. We expect them to pull their weight like every other member of the nation does. If they become one of our tribe and pass the test, they are blooded. We congratulate them, and we still expect them to do what every Get Fenris does, but they have proven themselves in the eyes of Gaia at that point. But it does not mean they have an easy life, you know? We're not children of Gaia. He'll smirk.
That finally quirks a little grin back on her face.
That one that came, that Runa seems to have a fondness for. He would not last in Bloodfist.
Don't imagine he would.
It's not because of
Sorry,
his lack of.
didn't.
It's not because of its lack of ability. It's because he expects things. He expects. The nation doesn't. You think and tilt set from side to side. The nation does not expect, it gives. When you do not wish to receive it, then you're just merely trying to scream and shout at your own inadequacy. The nation gives you strife. It is up to you what you do with it.
True.
Strife makes a man strong. I respect someone more because they have struggled through it than someone who tries to use it to change others.
I'm glad we can agree.
Perhaps you can tell Runa the same thing. I don't think she fully appreciates the understanding yet.
She's still hanging around with that thing.
Of course. She was looking at him so fondly.
The nose scrunches.
I know what the tactic was, and his tactic was to attempt to bait me. That does not work. But I know for an impressionable young Cleus like Runa, he responds and feeds off the idealism. It is common for children of Gaia to do that, not just metas. Children of Gaia like to take someone's idealistic nature and turn it to their own agenda, much like every other tribe, but the children of Gaia are especially patronizing in their use of it.
Again, there's just kind of the face scrunch.
So, I think, while he may use his skills to Ragabash, you should use yours. She's your packmate and your sister. I think it would be, honestly for you, I think it would be nice to finally feel someone listen to your perspective. Rather than just assume because you're a Fianna, you hate them blindly out of sheer stupidity. I think it would be good for you to have someone hear it and have someone actually understand it.
Oh yeah, but you'd have to understand for that to work.
Well, you could only understand by telling her, can't you?
Not true, but all the talking in the world doesn't help if they're hearing and not listening.
Maybe you should ask her to listen. Maybe you should take some faith in her. Maybe that's what it is counting on, that you will not try to listen.
I suppose.
I think you should open yourself. Not in making yourself vulnerable. I would never ask that. I think you should just open yourself to who you are and be proud of that. You are Fianna. You have earned your deeds already. Yes, you are still young, but you are. If I am going for Foston, you are not far behind.
There's a quirk of a smile.
I do not think you should hide just because you feel that Grace would judge you. Not Grace, Runa would judge you. And if she does, I will backhand her so hard that she will not be able to taste right for a week. For then she is no better than the people she likes to claim that she is. But I think for you, I think you need that. I think it would make you actually smile genuinely for a change.
Be a real trick?
Shrugs. I'll order you if I have to. Smirking.
Oh, would you, Raya?
I would.
It finally. I mean, the fact that he's teasing her with it. Yeah, it pulls a little bit of mirth back out of her.
Oh yes, I would. I would tell you to go talk to Runa. Have a good talk. Have those talks that you women folk do.
Oh, do you think us women folk just sit around talking about midis? Grinning.
Telling her about your tribe.
I suppose I wouldn't be worrying about stepping on your feet anymore.
I am always supportive of you trying to teach Runa. And I trust you more than I ever trust some walk of the wilds fool that is trying to tell her to be a better guru. And telling her that he forgives her weakness. Or he tried to forgive mine. I would rather you show her what true strength.
Monumental eye roll.
I would rather you show her what true strength is. And if she cannot accept that, well then teach her what the fucking nation is. Just gives a shrug, a very Fenrir shrug, like, which is essentially punch her in the fucking face. You know what I mean? You can just see it on his eyes. She's a get now. She's not a baby. Don't treat her like a baby. I don't.
Wouldn't be doing her any credit to treat her like a baby.
No, even though she should be. Nod sagely. And she will cry and holler and screech and then tell her, you're a get of Fenris. Now deal with it. Pats Grace's shoulder.
Oh, I'm not worried about all that.
Yes, you
It's
are.
just disappointing to tell someone something until you're blue in the face and know that they're not listening to a word of it.
Well, you're the Ragabash. Look over his shoulder.
Well, I can make a person hear. Can't make them listen.
No.
I can make awful lot of fun of them when they don't learn nothing from it.
I'm not saying that. If she's not listening already, well, Ragabash. If she's not wanting to hear it, perhaps not lead with telling her about your tribe. Perhaps finally actually Ragabash. Doesn't have to be a biting or cutting thing. Perhaps it might be something that could disarm her.
Now you're
But
starting to even make sense.
It is almost as if I know the both of you very well.
Almost.
And maybe I am concerned about my packmates. It's a possibility, I know.
So, fuck segues. Still sitting in the same spot. So, did you stand up because you have to pace to talk, or did you stand up because I was leaning on you? And oh man, those little microwave eyes, piercing as hell all of a sudden.
That's pretty much the look you get. Just, huh? You know, what? Why do you wish to know that?
She doesn't sway the look at all, just the hands play innocently out. It wouldn't be much of a ragabash if there wasn't a purpose behind my questions, right?
You did not tell me your purpose. Just really defensively as he's kind of shifting uncomfortably.
Well, that's not part of the job description, right?
There is a job description.
Oh, absolutely. It's got a handbook and everything.
That is lies.
Do you say that like there isn't a ragabash somewhere who's actually written a handbook just to make it true?
I would not be surprised at this point.
Well, there you go. You still haven't answered the question?
No, I'm not. This is all defensive, like, fuck, she's on to me. Do you know what I mean?
You know, not answering's an answer on its own, right?
I will leave you like that one there. There you go. Nod, sage nods. Haha, I'm escaping. Do you know what I mean?
Is he actually like suddenly turning to walk away, or is he like, haha, I've escaped the question by not answering?
Yep.
Oh? Very telling, right?
No.
Oh, it is quite telling. Avoiding a question's easier than answering it.
I'm fine.
I'm sure you're fine.
Yes.
After all, you're standing and pacing.
Yes. Well, there you go then. You know, it just gives us kind of like,
There's a nod. And she thoughtfully fiddles for a minute and then kind of glances up like she's going to change the subject. Does it make you uncomfortable, or you just think someone's going to catch you at it?
Doesn't answer.
If it helps, I'm asking this one so I know. Because if it makes you uncomfortable,
Both.
it's important to me.
Both.
So you don't like it then?
Well, it's not that I don't like it. It's reminders of things.
It's finally just like a quiet sigh. Almost one might dare say, sounds kind of like a defeated sigh. She kind of leans back against the tree again. Keeps fiddling with the little shamrock carving.
This frustrates you.
I liked it better when you treasured the memories.
What is there to treasure?
You can remember things that happened in a way that sheds a good light on them, like a sunbeam. You remember the good in it. Or you can look at a memory from a worse place. It's like there's frost crawling in the edges of a window frame. It just casts it all in a harsher, colder light.
All right, Eric. Let's make a roll. Let's make this interesting. Let's see how good we are at this. Where's my willpower?
Oh,
Like a stone. That's a really good roll, even with a higher diff. Doesn't say anything.
Just felt at one point like the memories were good ones. I didn't even know there were memories to be had, but it seemed like it was the good side of them. And I hate to think that I've done something that means that now I remind you of the harsher, colder, worse parts.
It does not do.
Then what is it?
There's nothing important.
It's categorically untrue, Raya.
In the grand scheme of things, this is not important.
I'm not looking at the grand scheme.
Yes, you are.
No. No, I'm just looking at it here. And you. The grand scheme's totally different. And all the little things that make us who we are in the grand scheme don't even factor in. But I'm not looking at the big picture. Zoomed all the way in. Because when you get real close, it is the details that count. It's the details that make everything different. Make everyone different. Besides, it matters to me. I'm reminding you of things that you don't want to remember and you want to get up and stand away from. Instead of reminding you of the good things that made you want to hang out and be close. It'd be nice to know changed it.
The last person who I grew attached to, not in a romantic way. That is the first thing I will say. They developed a mate, as per the things do. Of course, at the time, being cubs, it was not supposed to. The day she died, she'd snuck out to see him. I had chastised her for it, and she gave much the fiery response she always does, and that was the day that it was carelessness. And she took the projectile in the throat. I did not have time to react.
There's a faint head tilt.
And I worry that getting attached to you, now that you are focused, it will happen again. It was the first death under my command, and it was the death of my closest friend. Perhaps I am uncomfortable. It was my fault. I should have been more strict. Between that and the loss of my father, I should have been more strict.
Would you like to be more strict?
There are things that you occasionally do not like, which you have to be.
And what do you think you should be more strict about then?
Indulging something which will make things careless.
You know, I know I said it before, but just because you care about someone doesn't mean you get careless. It just means you get closer. You're not a cub anymore. can't imagine you'd repeat the same mistakes. You're smarter than that. You wouldn't let yourself be careless.
He was still careless. I must not be. It was still careless. I must not be that careless again.
You don't have to be.
No.
There's no reason to be careless. This time you have a link. This time you have experience.
Someone died under your command before, Grace.
No. Ravash don't get command in training exercises.
Someone died because of an order you advised them on. Have you lain there with them and watched as they hold on to you and they bleed out right in front of you?
Yay, my turn to make rolls. Where the fuck is willpower on this? There it is.
Do it. Do it, Katie.
I'm doing it. Doing it right now.
Do it.
Doing it dirty. Nope.
Oh, nope, that's not a pass.
That's not a pass. That's not even close to a pass.
It's
Thank
not
God
botch.
for that 10.
It's not botch, though.
No. It just means she doesn't lose her shit. She just, under the press of questions, just gets subdued and quiet and doesn't fight back on it at all.
He just leaves the silence there and he'll turn to start walking back towards the wood very calmly. Well, not calmly, it's stiff.
Actually, let me make a second one to see how well she's going there too. See if she gets that up in time.
Nope.
Nope. No, it's just
All sorts of rolls have been failed today.
that was the first one was obviously the willpower check to see how she was doing. That one was to see if she had the fucking presence of mind to wall up.
Nope.
Nope. No, it wasn't as bad as it wasn't as abrupt as something like a gut punch. It's just, man, it's like, I don't know, finding a sore tooth or something. It's not immediate horrific pain. It's just suddenly you remember that everything hurts. So no, she goes kind of quiet and she, tucks in a little tighter where she was already kind of pulled up. And it's just kind of like the emotional equivalent of like a dull throbbing pain.
Interesting. Let me see if did he wall up. This is going to be good. Going to be really good, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ha! No. All right, but you just get the appropriate music for this. So hey, Katie. Hey.
What?
All right, so once you get that song there, and I want you because you can see images and stuff like that if you're looking through memories and shit, right? If I remember correctly.
I mean, backlink isn't well defined in the books at all, so we've been let have a lot of artistic freedom with it.
That's like the idea of the memory thing.
So if he is reliving something very vividly and projecting, why not?
Just get the right music then, butthead.
It's about to just be a spiral of trauma.
Just trying to get the right fucking name for it. But you know, she'll feel it. She'll feel. It's not like he's about to like break down crying or no. Do you know what I mean?
No.
She'll feel the sting. It's more, instead of a throbbing tooth pain, this feels like a knife wound. You know what I mean? It's like
What,
a
in
sharp.
response to the throbbing?
Yeah. It's not like he does it deliberately. It's just, again, it's subconscious, if you get what I'm saying. Probably the response to her trauma is just probably an unguarded, like, ooh, you know what I mean? And he feels that kind of slight sense of something's kicking him in the gut, essentially, if you get me. As if, seeing her break down like that, it reminds him of things, you know?
Yeah. Is the song evading you?
I am trying to get the right picture of what he will see.
Oh.
Yes. That's all. But that's what you feel visibly in the link, you know? Like, not visibly, like, emotionally, it's sting.
It's one of those things where, I mean, she probably doesn't realize she's projecting. It's not something she's doing on purpose.
Oh, very
She's
much the
just
same.
kind of leaking. So she just kind of subdues considerably and gets caught up. Because, no, it wasn't a. I mean, one could argue that the decision to not keep an eye on Molly Better might have made that happen. I'm sure she's told herself that a million times. Me get that to where I can hear it. There we go. So it's just one of those things where it's like, no, maybe, technically. And so yeah, it's not a horrific sudden descent into, a real flashback or episode or anything like that. No, it's just it gets really, really quiet really fast, and she starts kind of thinking about it, and especially for some reason as he turns away, like that might be the extra little bit that gets her, that just kind of sends that home. And she probably doesn't have any idea what she's doing until.
There you go. It's that same. It's actually the same light that's probably in the sky now at the minute. That slow sun rising over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As
It's
she
the sharpness of it. She actually jerks her head up.
and she's, as he's turning away to look off, and from what she can see visually, it's probably the morning of that raid. You know what I mean? It was probably early in the morning. Just the briefest glimpse, and like if you have the picture up, you can see she's turning like with that anxious little tug on her wrist, but she's turning to smile at him. You know what I mean? You can almost hear that kind of teasing. You can't hear anything, but it's that teasing smile, very similar to what she does. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then like the image flashes back, and like she's lying down, and you see the blood slowly. Do you know what I mean? It's like she's watching it from his perspective. And then the other image you feel is him handing the small little necklace to the mate and walking away.
Trying to decide what kind of reaction she'll have. I mean, the pulse of pain and sympathy is thoughtless and immediate, especially if she starts getting, vividly relived images. Because that's It's awful and it hurts. And she's thinking, she's got her mind enough on her own losses to sympathize very abruptly and very deeply with the pain of loss, especially someone you care about.
Like she'll see more images. She'll see more images of his father's hut when he's walking in. You know what I mean? That's probably where the link gets clamped down. Then you know what I mean, like where he becomes self-aware and just. But the last image she'll see is him opening the door and seeing the figure of his father lying there with the throat ripped open.
Yeah, it's thoughtless.
The last thing she'll hear is that wail from his mother, you know, which is just a horrendous sound.
The sound, yeah, a woman makes when she loses a husband or a child, especially a child. Like, those are inhuman. And yeah, it's funny because by the time she's kind of blinked herself out of it when he clamps down, like, I'm not gonna lie, she's probably got tears by then. She's all tightened up into a little ball. And let's face it, when he clamps down, is probably kind of struggling to get reoriented, get her own thoughts and feelings kind of corralled back in. More of a struggle for her since she's highly emotional. But she's trying before she just leaks out everywhere to pull everything back together, pull it in, put it away. And probably initially is just staring ahead. Though as she finally gets herself together is like blinking around to see if he's even still in line of sight.
Nope. Oh no.
Something about that actually makes it a lot worse. She kind of gets up and see how let's see if she can keep from getting worse. That's the thing. Okay, so she doesn't get worse. But yeah, she'll kind of like shakily pull herself up. Probably sweep the sleeve across her face as she's glancing around, trying to remember which way he was walking. She can't feel him anymore. Starts just kind of trotting the same way, not trying to be sneaky about it either, just kind of numbly following.
You eventually find him a couple of paces down. He's just staring off into the trees. He's leaned up against one. You see his back. His back is obviously towards her, you know.
And it's funny, she doesn't. Maybe it's a respect thing. She just, as she gets closer, eyes just kind of drop. She's not looking at him. She's not looking at whether his shoulders are slouched. She's not looking at his expression as she kind of just tries to pick her way around in front of him.
It's pretty much that expression he has. Pretty much that. Very deliberately cold, you know. And I emphasize that deliberately.
Yeah, she keeps studiously not looking up, not looking at his face, not looking at his posture, but comes around until she's in front of him. Probably again looking for all the world like some sort of absurd, mismatched kid sister in the big coat, but even if he stays stiff, She doesn't try to cling on, but she does try very briefly to get like kind of like you do in greeting, where you give someone a quick squeeze and then immediately retract. Just tries to give the quick squeeze and say, I'm sorry.
It is fine.
Just shakes her head, but that whole like, polite step back after the hug is just I don't know, looking downish, not really focused on anything per se.
What did she say? Sorry, that last bit kind of chopped up on me.
Oh, sorry, it was actually that was my cat, I think. But she just stands there for a second, but she shakes her head when he says it's fine. She's not even thinking about it. It's just kind of an unconscious, like, no, it's not.
No. But is it the nation and the life we give? Everything demands a sacrifice.
I don't know. Oh no. There's not a person in the world who could make me pretend to like it. Are we gonna fight again if I try and stay?
What?
It's funny because, yeah, she's completely dwarfed and kind of, again, pulled in. She shouldn't have like her arms crossed or anything that dramatic. She's just kind of a tight, tense little beanpole. If I tried to stay here right now, we're gonna fight again.
I'm in a room. There's a lot of rage.
I don't want to make you mad.
It's better that you go.
It's small. Again, it's pretty subdued. She's not looking up, but it's just an odd. She just
As much as I would like you to stay, it is better that you go.
why?
It is better that you go.
Why?
Because I have asked you to.
Not an answer.
What moon phase are we, Katie?
Let me look.
It's not for frenzy. I just want to be, in terms of successes, I want to make sure that I have
I
it
want
right.
to say it's pretty. Which one is technically it? I think we're technically just still gibbous.
So what's the diff?
So, that is 7, 6.
Okay, so 3. I just want to make sure, again, it's not for frenzy, but it's, again, you'll see.
Gauge. Yep.
Because I am an Orun. It says that his voice, she can feel it building. You know what I mean? And grief affects this curse as much as anger does. And I am unable to mourn other people around. That is a sacrifice I make. So I do not be the cause of more death. Now I am asking you to leave. If you want, you can peony, or you can not to. It is up to how Grace reacts to that.
Oh, I gotta. Because just because he's giving her an answer doesn't mean it's the answer she wants, and she's listening for certain things. No guarantee she will hear them. We will find out. That can't be right. Oh, I just did the thing wrong, I guess. 0 successes.
No, you can't read it, Kitty. You just feel the rage.
It's just, again, it's very subdued kind of nod. Yes, right. And, oh, she doesn't catch it. Maybe it's because she's not looking, but she just kind of. Again, it's so lifeless compared to her energetic kind of behavior. So, no, she just quietly turns and starts to kind of shuffle away. Not at any kind of speed, not with any kind of enthusiasm. You know what? I'll play fair is fair and give you an alertness check.
Sure. About 3.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, for dice pull ahead, it's pretty good.
I mean, yeah. Still got.
3.
Oh, Jesus. Out of 4? Yeah, that's fucking good. It's not, a particular thing like the way she's walking and stuff. It's all like pretty obviously not characteristic. It's that as she turns and starts finally like moving, the arms shuffle in front of her. Like she brings them around in front of her. And I mean, maybe he hears it, maybe he sees it out of the corner of the eye when she turns at some point to kind of like pick her way around something, but she's just scratching at the inside of the elbow as she goes. It's a thoughtless gesture, but she's just kind of scratching at it.
Oh, Eric. Nope, he stays where he is, unfortunately. I was hoping he failed that one. He spots it. And I'm going to check one more time, just in case she feels the ping. Nope, sadly not. 2 successes, even at div 8.
No, she's trying to very carefully police her stuff, so I'm not necessarily going to roll for it just because she doesn't want her emotional state to affect his reactions. So, oh, she keeps it pulled in. She just toddles. And I mean, it's not a fast process. She just kind of picks her way away, not even necessarily in a particular, with a particular destination in mind. She's obviously just going because she's been told to go.
And I'll put this in perspective for how bad this is going to be. Oh yeah. I mean, you can hear it, Grace. I'll put it like that. That is 6 levels of rage being distributed onto something.
Nature never saw it coming.
I mean, she'll see actually one of the trees shudder and then just go down. And it shudders violently, you know?
Oh, yeah. She actually pauses at that. Like the one hand just kind of wrapped around the outside of her elbow now as she turns, glances, watches. Waits for the tree to drop, because that's inevitable. And weighs. Weighs really hard. Because he could rock her shit for disobeying if she goes back. But he can't argue that it's the rage that's the issue at that point. What kind of roll should I make for that?
Up to you, butt cheese.
Taking a quick look. How long does it keep going after the tree goes down?
There's a couple more.
You know what? She will choose the middle ground for the moment, which is not leaving any further, but not necessarily coming any closer yet, and just listens, waits for the fucking abuse of that tree to stop.
I don't know how she feels about it, but you'll hear it's displays of like yelling. It's not anything like he's not crying.
It's cathartic, yeah.
Not even that. Perhaps, Grace, this is the thing. Maybe this is him crying. Maybe that's how because you imagine a Fenrir crying? Nah. And if Fenrir is bred and trained as he was, no, then maybe this is his form of crying. You know what I mean?
Is it one of those things that's kind of, I mean, it's not one and done, but I imagine he only goes at it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Can't afford a prolonged display.
Yep.
She waits.
I'll put it in context or perspective of visually wise.
Okay.
Skip to 206 and just watch. You'll see what I mean. Watch everything that happens with your man beating the guy, essentially. That's what that is. It's rage that is after taking over sadness. That is still sadness, but the only way you can manifest it is rage.
So yeah, it's just him slamming, screaming, and violently venting.
Mm-hmm. And then there will be lingering sounds, obviously, because there's only so much you can leave that out, you know?
And she gives it another minute or two just to make sure. And then very, very tentatively starts kind of creeping back.
I mean, she'll see him there probably by the shattered, like that. Yeah, I mean, she'll fucking see the splinters probably about a mile away. Imagine hitting her with that level of force, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Who knows what form he took over the course of that? Yep.
And she'll see him that there is blood on his face because, like, hitting, you know what I mean? Like, you would even get to the point where you'd hurt yourself, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
He's just slumped down in the ruined remnants of it. You know, there's the heavy breathing, you know, because that amount of expenditure.
How's he slumped?
It's kind of sitting there in it, you know what I mean? It's kind of your body's after exerting such mass amount of energy. It's just like, oh, you know what I mean? This kind of Jesus, you know what I mean?
Yeah. She doesn't she's not sneaking. She's not indiscernible. She's just it's that polite kind of quiet that she's kind of creeping back over. She's not moving fast either, on the off chance he wants to yell at her to fuck off, but she's kind of carefully picking her way back, even around the downed tree. And is he like kneeling? Is he sitting on his butt? Like,
It's more he's sitting probably on the ruined remnants of the stump with that kind of hard stare, you know what I mean? Like fingers clasped together in front of him, elbows on the knees.
yeah. She picks her way around and I mean outright approaches from the front. Will she get any reaction? Like, up to what point will she be
Eventually,
able
when she gets in front of him, he looks up.
Oh, she's still looking like down into the side. Very essentially like it's pretty flat out Garou submission. Looking well away. Not trying to look at his face, not trying to look at the state he's in. And you know what? She won't even necessarily try to try to touch him outright. But she'll just try to see if he'll let her like crouch down and finally sit leaning on the side of the stump. Keeps her hands very much to herself.
Wait, what's she doing?
Basically, you said he's sitting on the stump, right?
Yes.
So she just kind of picks her way over, And the whole way is quiet enough to be, quote, polite, like when you're like trying to go into a room like and not wake someone up just because it's the nice thing to do, not because you're trying to sneak up on them. So she picks along, approaches from the front, and if he doesn't, like, he can look up, and when he does, again, she's looking like off and down. She's not trying to pry into his emotional state. She's not trying to challenge what he told her. It's pretty much the very submissive, like if you've ever seen a really submissive wolf creep up to a very dominant one. She's not like belly on the ground, but it's pretty much like human posture equivalent of a very tentative approach, like you expect to get snarled off. But if he doesn't do anything to chase her off or to make her hesitate or go still, she will eventually get close enough to come over just to the side of where he's sitting and not touching him at all, but maybe even setting a hand on the side of the stump to do so, will just kind of hunker down, nested up there next to the stump. So kind of like when she sat, in front of him in the armchair, just kind of off to the corner a bit and not touching him. Keeps her hands very much to herself. Keeps herself kind of pulled in still because, let's face it, he could let her go all the way through with it, or at any point he could snap at her. She looks tense enough to jump if he does. But she doesn't actually say anything. She just nests up there and seems very determined to be right there. Does he react at all besides looking up as she approaches or staring a hole in her when she sits down?
Is there the stare? I thought I told you to leave.
I did leave. She doesn't sound like she believes that that's going to carry, for what it's worth. The head is still down.
He just takes a breath.
It's finally a tentative, like, side glance again, not even remotely up at his head height, just kind of over to maybe where his hands are hanging or like knee level.
Let's just see the blood all over them. Bits of tree bark probably in them as well, to be honest.
At least pull the splinters right.
No.
Just a little nod. She resumes the knot, studiously not looking.
I'm sorry for hurting you.
Trying to hurt me, right? No better.
That is a lie.
She finally turns kind of a puzzled glance. Like it's brief. It's very brief, but turns glance around. It's a lie.
What you just said.
If you were trying, then why would you be sorry?
No, I did not mean me. You. You said you were all better. That is a lie.
I said I knew better. I knew you weren't trying to do that. That would have been a lie.
It was still not fair on you.
It's not fair.
I know.
Yeah, you do. I really do. But depending on how he's sitting, as she says that, it's a thoughtless thing. She's just so used to conveying things through touch. She won't like hit his hands or anything, but like it's very possible that she just very lightly taps, like his knee. That kind of same pat you'd give to a shoulder, just to convey a certain amount of sincerity. She says, "Oh, you definitely do." It's okay. You're technically right. It's the worst kind of right, but still right.
You should talk to Belka about this stuff. It is not appropriate. Shifts uncomfortably. That is what he is there for you for.
Alka's there to help me. And he knows the story. Just in brief, knows. But I don't want him to have to try to imagine what that feels like.
You will have to learn.
I don't want him to hurt like that until the day I don't come home. There's no point in making him hurt for things, try and understand things he's not gonna have to face till then. Kinfolk are amazing. They're not us. I don't know. So I make him feel that way any sooner than I have to. Especially when there are people closer that do know already. Slow kind of glance over to see if anything has changed at I guessed roughly knuckle level down.
Bit hard to tell at knuckle level.
Hmm?
It's a bit hard to tell at knuckle level.
It is. It is. But that's the starting stage. If there's no response to her, like turning to glance, nothing corrective, no even kind of disgruntled growl, she'll eventually glance up higher. Yeah, I mean, she teary faced, but she doesn't have to hide it with screams.
Interesting. He'll extend the hand, like she'll feel the knuckle come up and touch her face, and with the thumb, just thumb one of the tears away very gently.
And yeah, even knowing that there's splinters there, and even probably feeling some of them scratch against the cheek a little bit, not like horribly, just they're there. She can't help responding to like a positive physical interaction. She tips her head slightly into it, lays off trying to necessarily look up at his face. Just seems kind of that one little touch of placated. Is it selfish to ask you for that?
Ask me for what?
It's hard to share your pain with people who've never felt anything like it. They don't know. Can't even do like us. They don't. I can't make them feel how I feel. But you know, already.
It depends. But it is not inherently selfish. It is something that's born of anxiety.
What do you mean?
It is the fear of people seeing weak elements in you. The fear of judgment for it, because they do not understand the pain in it.
Suppose it's just one more thing we need a pack for. I would have told him tie us so close together. We could feel each other. Weren't meant to share it.
You should share it with people that you value. Pack or no. If Bauke would ever to mock you for it, I would break his spine.
No, he didn't mock me, just...
If he were ever to. I did not say he did.
It's finally just the briefest little touch. Like, if his hand is still up by her face, the fingers will just kind of touch the other side of it for a second. She won't hold it there. She doesn't want to push the line. I just... doesn't know what to do with it. Never had anything like that. He's never felt anything like it.
Did he leave you alone?
No.
Then I will not break his arm.
He was just honest. He asked
Did,
what I needed, what I wanted.
did he leave you alone?
No.
That is all I need to know. And again, it's very serious. You get the impression that Bauke had. Eric would get
Eric,
up.
no shit, go break his arm. Right about meow.
It's that very you know what I mean? And it's not meant out of sadism. That is Eric, like, he feels very strongly about it, you know what I mean? And it's the fact of, did he leave you alone?
Oh, I could see he didn't. I don't think he knows how to hurt that much.
Many people walk away from things they do not understand without realizing they've done harm. Whatever his ineptitude at being able to comfort you, the fact that he still tried, that is better than walking away without ever realizing that he had walked away.
He just nods very softly. Honestly, if he hasn't moved the hand, with the cheek still just lightly against the knuckles. Not pushing the line again, just... just... I suppose, don't we all have that in common, in a way? None of us is born this way under happy circumstances. Always got something.
It is strife. And that's what they ask of us.
I like that price that gets pulled out of your hide. It's not asking, it's telling.
It is what is asked of us to deal with and to overcome. For there will be much more on the way.
Yeah, there will. think the first one just always sticks with you like this?
Of course. It is designed that way. So you never forget it.
And the lips just kind of roll in. She starts chewing on them. It's not like the lip bite type thing. No, it's just they roll in and she just kind of biting, chewing. Not hard, just. I mean, measurably trying to calm herself down.
When she fell, they said that they would look for her coming on the set, but that she would not return, for she had gone home. And that was the line that broke me.
Why?
Because they were telling the truth. She had gone home.
You never decide if it feels any better knowing.
It's because I will not see her again for a long time.
Oh,
That does not make death easier.
no, it doesn't. Nothing does.
Just nod. Now go home to your husband or mate. Smirking. He will worry.
I go home like this. Not to his home like this.
Why not?
Finally, just kind of fits that. Just tired shrug. Just doesn't seem fair. It's a pain he doesn't know. How can he possibly? He'll feel like he has to help. Of course he will, and he'll try. What do you do to fix a pain you've never felt? Go back if you tell me to. But I'd rather stay with you.
And why is that?
Because you understand.
Do you not wish Balka to understand?
Understanding what it feels like to lose someone you love.
To understand your pain?
Selfish to wish that kind of hurt on someone.
It is not selfish to have someone try and hold on to your pain and take it for what it is, a part of you. That is not selfish. That is being strong enough to open and ask for their hand.
It's just kind of a slow nod, not of agreement, but of understanding.
And if he cannot accept that, and he cannot take your hand back, then you should walk away. That is a person that is not willing to take that burden with you. And if you cannot share that with him because you are afraid of that he will not be able to take that, then you should walk away. Because that means you do not have to believe in each other. I asked you to walk away because I do not wish you to see my pain, not because I don't believe don't believe that you cannot handle it. It's because that is my burden. And you came back. I'm not angry at that. There's a part of me that hoped you would not listen. Just as I imagine there's a part of Balka which hopes that you will one day turn up at his door like this so he could further understand. If he cares about you that way. Because love is a far more complex thing than just sex and holding hands and pretending like everything is a romantic novel. To love someone in any form requires understanding. And we as pack mates love each other. That requires understanding, the same as you and Balka.
Just nodding.
So go and make him understand. And if he rejects you, tell me and I will break his spine.
Finally, a very weak smile.
Why are you smiling? I am deadly serious.
I know. Smiling because I know he wouldn't. Smiling because I know you're being very serious. Just seems kind of ironic sometimes.
I will not have faith in Balka until he is walking you down the aisle. That is my right as an alpha to do that.
Oh, it is. It is.
And when he comes time to ask you, I will talk to him man to man.
Oh, I know. It seems funny to me sometimes. She briefly catches the hand and just avoiding the knuckles, just sets her cheek briefly to the back of it, just pulls it up there for a second.
Kind of tenses just a tiny bit.
Yeah, it's gentle. She just collects the hand by reaching under the palm. And it just puts it up very briefly and then puts it right back where she found it. Takes her hand away. Because you'll break a man in half for me. I know you care. But if I tried to hug you, it would be stiffer than that tree over there. And all that because I claimed the lost kin. I understand better now. I appreciate you letting me understand better. Because I do love you like a brother. Ellie glances up. First time properly looks up at his face. Just wish you'd let me treat you like it without feeling like something was wrong.
That is my difficulty.
Oh. Do you actually want me to go? Or are you just telling me that because it's the right thing to say?
That is up to you to decide. You just stand up.
It's too close to the problem now, too. Do you have somewhere you need to go?
I am leaving. I will leave that question to debate yourself, Ragabash. You walk past her.
You're kind of forcing this way by walking away.
No, I am leaving you with the question. What you do next is your own choice.
She just starts pulling herself up.
Because me being here makes the choice that much more easier to influence. Now you choose what you do once I leave. And that way the choice is fair. She just turns, keep walking.
She mumbles, but won't stop him. In fact, stands there because the whole point is for him to get to a certain point. She just goes back to, like, thankfully not the inside, just kind of rubbing one arm with the other hand, the outside of the elbow, like the warming up gesture, essentially, instead of scritching at it.
Yes.
And she will wait. Let him get out of sight. Let him get out of earshot. And stand there for, let's see how long. See how long she pulls this off. Ugh. There. Stupid thing. Not long. You can practically, like, if the both of you weren't fairly keenly set up again, it would you'd practically be able to hear her like counting down. The further he gets, the tenser she gets, until eventually, finally, she's like, okay, that is officially #far enough to count. She starts following.
He didn't say anything. He's just walking into his house, keeps his back towards her, not saying a thing. Doesn't draw any attention to it.
She follows, admittedly, somewhat behind him. She had to give him a decent head start, or she would have gotten scolded. She's pretty sure. So he'll be able to get well inside before she finally hits the front door.
Oh, the second she comes in, door closes, and he just, up you come, floof. Just walks into the bedroom with her. Just sets her down on the bed, wraps the big fur blanket around her, and just sits down at the end of the bed. Not snuggling in with her, but it's almost as if there, protected.
Yeah, she will get bundled. She will not protest being scooped. If anything, she seems to finally drop a couple notes as far as tension goes. And, well, she won't audibly protest that he sits up at the side of the bed or at the end of the bed. She does shift around until she's got, even if it's through a blanket, like, has, like, an ankle resting against him or something.
I will wait until he calls to see where you are, and I will tell him that you are doing SEP duties.
Just tell him I can't come in the morning.
I will tell him that you are doing SEP duties and not available at this current time.
You gonna sleep?
I'm not tired yet. I will wait.
Okay. Then yeah, minus probably only like the jacket and the shoes. Probably still wearing just about everything else. Assuming he even bothers to like let her shuck the jacket before he bundles her up.
Nope.
Nope. She at least manages to wiggle the shoes off her feet because you don't put shoes in the bed. That is a travesty. But yeah, bundled up in all of her clothes and wrapped up in a blanket, she'll lax out, and honestly, as long as he stays within like touch range, we'll eventually manage to relax enough to potentially doze off, or at least zone out pretty hardcore.
So do you want it there, Katie?
Yes.